Erev Tov, a good yontif to everyone, a good yontif, Gmach Simatevel, Shana Tevel, Succah. As we begin our story tonight, we'd like to mention that the shir is in the merit of the neshama of Zlata Bas Aaron, the mother of Tibadel L'chaim Toivim, Reb Tzimchai Rasha Kaplan. The mother, Zlata, passed away this morning early at 8:24, 8:24 a.m. And whoever can make it to the Levaya is tomorrow in Florida. And we see how unbelievable, how uncanny things are as we are entering the Zman Simchasenu, the time of our rejoicing. There are things that are happening here in Eretz Yisrael. There are things that are happening all over the world, and it's not this joy that we're expecting. It's not the revealed joy on a revealed basis that we can see it, that we can feel it, that we can taste it. And therefore, the first and foremost that we're going to ask and demand from Hashem is that He gives us the simcha and tuv levav, the happiness and the joy of the heart, on a good and revealed basis with the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach. We can see that there's no doubt the Hashgacha Protis, how the passing away and the Levaya is literally on the day of the Yortzeit of the day of the passing of the Rebbe Maharash, of the Rebbe Maharash, Rabbi Shmuel of Lubavitch, who is known by his famous saying, "The Welt sagt, oib mikenisch gehen ariber, arunter geht man ariber. Und ich, der Rebbe Maharash sagt, as mir soll gehen lechatchila ariber." In English, that means that the world says that if we can't go from underneath, so then we make the effort to go and to climb up over the mountain, and to make to work and to struggle. But the Rebbe Maharash says that we should go and make the effort initially and go over the mountain, not to go into bother with all the shortcuts and all the cutting of corners, and because shortcuts and cutting of corners are good when we want to have our comfort zone. But if we want to do our work here in this material world, so the things that we do in the initial and most beautiful and appropriate of forms, because it's all part and parcel of serving Hashem, and that's not looking for our own personal comfort zone. This tonight's story, it has very much to do with the period of time that we've just entered. We're coming from the culmination of Yom HaKippurim, the holiest day of the year, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, and we go into the preparations for the time of our rejoicing, like as we said before. The time of our rejoicing, the holiday of Sukkot, the holiday of booths, and in general, all the commentaries ask the question: what exactly is this all about? Why is it that when we go and we finish the holiday of Yom Kippur, which is a day which we find ourselves entirely, I can tell you, not only in the idea, but literally, I had the joy to spend the entire day in shul on Yom Kippur. We didn't even have a break because everything was so close together. We had something small, a few minutes, but from this high and holy status that we're compared to angels that don't eat and don't drink, all dressed in white. All of a sudden, we go out and it's brought in the name of the Mohari. It's actually brought in Shulchan Aruch, but in the name of the Mohari, a famous codifier, and it's brought in the name of the Shalah even more. It says that when we come home from Yom Kippur, we go we're going to start. There's a big mitzvah to have a suda, to have a big meal, a very elaborate meal, Motzei Yom Kippur. But before we sit down to eat, we've been fasting almost like 26 hours from the night before. We're supposed to, and this is what the Shlach HaKodesh says, even though we've been fasting for over 26 hours, we're supposed to sit down and at least talk about the preparations in regard to the Sukkah, in regard to the booth that we're going to be sitting in all the days of the holiday of Sukkot. And the famous question everyone asks it, why? What is this all about? Why specifically the mitzvah of Sukkah? And what was wrong with sitting in the shul and being angels? Why do we have to go out and we have to start talking about Sukkah? And in comparison to all the other mitzvahs, Sukkah seems to be the most simplest of mitzvahs. There's a holier, more excelled mitzvahs like going and picking our daled minim, the lulav, the esrog. That's not something that we go and we send the children or we send someone else to do for us, usually. That's something that people prefer to go and to do on their own, and they go and they make comparisons between this person and another person, wherever, different places where they're selling the daled minim to see who has better schayra, who has better merchandise this year. Going and schlepping boards or the schach and putting the sukkah together, that seems to be something more mundane. So we're going from the highest of the highest, the holiest of the holiest, to the lowest of the lowest. So the well-known answer. One second, Rav Yaakov, we have to mute you. Shalom Aleichem. The basic answer is that when we're talking about the concept of the Sukkah, from all the mitzvahs that we have in regard to preparing for the holiday of Sukkot, so the Sukkah is known to be parallel to the Anonei HaKoved, the clouds of glory, and the clouds of glory. Right. Also, in comparison to all the other things that we had in the desert that Hashem provided us with, it seems to be something secondary. It doesn't seem to be something that is the most major and most important. I mean, bread, water. We had the manna from the heavens through Moshe Rabbeinu. We had water from the well of Miriam. So what are the clouds which were in the schus and the honor of Aaron HaKohen? What are the clouds? The clouds were just pampering us. They were spoiling us, spoiling in a positive way. What were they giving us? They gave us shade. It's not enough to be able to go into to be in the desert. You have to have an air conditioner. They gave us the ability to have our garments washed and dried and ironed, dry cleaners. The garments grew with us. They leveled the ground. So if there were mountains there, so the mountains were leveled, and if there were amokim, if there were valleys, so the valleys were filled. But that was only to give us a little more comfort. Again, this is giving us our comfort zone. And we just said that our purpose here in this world is not necessarily to go and to live in our comfort zone. It's to go and to make the lechatchila riber, to go and to make the effort, to go and to struggle, to go and to serve Hashem in the best of manners, and the most beautiful of manners. So why the sukkah? Why the anoni hakoved, the clouds that are basically here to pamper us and to spoil us? And the answer that is given in Chassidus, that in the verse, V'yimin smolo tachas reishi, his left hand of Hashem is under our head during the holidays of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. This is when Hashem wants us to go and to use our head, and he judges us according to our intellect, according to our feelings, according to our heart, and according to our highest capacities. But this is a time where Hashem is showing us gevura, might, severity, judgment. These are the days of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. It says gilu bir oda. It says that we should rejoice, but bir oda, that outside we don't show our rejoicing. We show that we're shuddering, that we're because of the fear of what's going to be. We don't know what's going to happen. Then comes his left hand under our head, and his right hand will hug us. What is the idea of a hug? The idea of a hug is something that doesn't take under consideration only the head, only the heart, the intellect, the emotions of the human being, but it takes under consideration the entire body, the arms, the legs, the entire status of the human being. And this is what we're talking about, that Hashem comes and shows us on Sukkah. Sukkah is Yeminai Tchapkeni. That is, with his right hand, he comes and he hugs us. It's not according to the capacity of our intellectual understanding, and it's not according to the emotions and the kavana, and the amount of intention that we have during our davening. It's according to who we are as we are, with no questions asked. Hashem comes and hugs us. And it doesn't make a difference if we're the greatest of Torah scholars or the simplest of Jews. Hashem comes and hugs us. And this is what the Sukkah represents also. The Sukkah represents the hug of Hashem. It encompasses us from all the four walls. And the hug is the minimum requirement of walls that a Sukkah needs. It says that the Baal Shem Tov, in order that people that didn't have what to go and to invest in order to go and to build a sukkah, the Baal Shem Tov the great Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov would build his sukkah in the most simplest of forms, the minimal requirement. And this is 2 walls plus a tefach, another small amount, a hand width, a hand breadth. And this is exactly the hug. The hug is made up of the arm, which is divided from the shoulder till the elbow. That's 1 wall. And then from the elbow till the wrist, right? That's another wall of the sukkah. And then, like we said before, one hand breadth, which is the 3rd wall. That's it. And with this, Hashem comes and literally wants to show us that what is important in this world is that he wants us to go and to feel good. He wants us to go and to take the great high and the high revelations that we experienced during Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the angelic experience that we had until the prayer of Ne'ilah, that we were literally locked in with Hashem himself. That's it. Just the Jewish nation and Hashem. Here Hashem says, this is great. This is wonderful. It's amazing. But it's only the beginning. It's only the preparations in order for the Jew to be able to go and to incorporate all this spirituality into the entire other days of the year. 3 days. We don't celebrate Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur all year long. We have 3 days, which are the major days of preparation, in order to enter the world, and with our entering the world, bringing with us all this spirituality into the mundane days. And this is what the Sukkah represents. The Sukkah is, what is the mitzvah of Sukkah? For in the Sukkot I have seated you. What do? We just sit down? Yes. The mitzvah is to go and to be present in the sukkah. If we want to make a blessing, then we have to eat something. But it's again something mundane. It's not something spiritual. It's not talking about when do we make a blessing? Leishe basuka, when we have a mundane meal, a material meal, when we eat bread. This is the holiness of the sukkah, to go and to remind us and to give us the empowerment to go and to take all the spirituality and to go and to merge it into the mundane physical world. In the sukkah, where we eat, where we drink, where many people, Jewish congregations all over the world even sleep. There are different customs, but you know what? If there's a good Torah magazine that we would like to sit down to read, so when we go and we take it and we bring it into the sukkah to read, we're doing the mitzvah of sukkah. If we want to go and get together with a few friends and we want to drink l'chaim and we want to eat some I don't know what, some crackers or some cake. So obviously we have to make sure what we're saying shouldn't embarrass the schach. It has to be conversations of content, of holy content, but we do it in the sukkah, and we're doing the mitzvah by having a farbrengen, having a conversation with our friends, and having something to eat, something to drink. This is what the sukkah represents. And this is what the idea of going from the Yom Kippur directly, even before we start eating the meal, which is, like we said before, a big mitzvah, the end of Yom Kippur, we speak about what? The sukkah. Because this is what brings us together and unites us between our spirituality and gives us our true empowerment to do our shlichus throughout the year. What is our shlichus? To go into the mundane world and to eat and to drink and to sleep, go to work, to go to school. But all these things have to be done in the manner that we're implementing the spirituality that we were able to go into, gather together during the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The story tonight exemplifies this concept, and it's a story that happened many years ago. It was after Yom Kippur, so the Yom Kippur War. So we're talking about 51 years ago. And about the Yom Kippur War then, the Rebbe said that if people want to know and how great the Yom Kippur miracles were, so the Yom Kippur miracles that we experienced 51 years ago were greater than the victory in the 6-day war, the Rebbe said. That's how great the Yom Kippur War was. But the fact of the matter is that everyone felt after the Yom Kippur War, everyone felt terrible. We were devastated, and the Egyptians passed the Suez Canal, and they were already into the Sinai Desert. The Syrians came down literally on the gates, and the Golan Heights. The situation was one of the most devastating situations that we experienced here in Eretz Yisrael. Maybe until October 1st, but when we're talking about the miracles, so the miracles were the greatest then in Yom Kippur. With all the failures, with all the devastation, those miracles were greater than the 6-day war. There was a Jew, a chassid. His name was Rav David Deitch, and he was a very wealthy person, but he saw what was going on in Eretz Yisrael, in the Holy Land, and he came to the Rebbe. He had yechidus, and with tears in his eyes, he said to the Rebbe, I want to know what I can do for the Jews in Eretz Yisrael. What can I do for the Jews in the Holy Land? The Rebbe looked at him and he said, listen, when a Jew is going through difficult situations, so the ability to get through the situation is totally different when the person has what they need on a material basis. When a person has what they need in regard to food on the table, eating, drinking, when a person has parnasa. So the Rebbe told Rabbi Deitch that he should open up a center for Jews to work in Eretz Yisrael in order for them to have parnasa, to have their livelihood. And then when a person doesn't have the stress and the pressure of looking for where they're going to find their next meal for themselves and their families tomorrow, so it's much easier to be able to go and to get through the difficult times, the challenging times. Rabbi Deitch immediately followed up on what the Rebbe told him. At the time, Rabbi Deitch was already an elderly man, so for him to be able to go and to make Aliyah and to live in Israel was not that. It didn't seem that possible. He gathered together his children and his son-in-laws, and he told them what the Rebbe told him, and he asked who from his daughters, his son-in-laws, his children, who would be willing to go to Eretz Yisrael and to open up a factory in order to give parnasa to the Jews in Eretz Yisrael. And there was the youngest of them. It was Rabbi Meir Deitch. I think his name is Meir, and he was married to Rabbi Deitch's daughter. He had a child then, a young child, and he said he's willing to go. And with that, they made Aliyah. They came to live in Nachlas Har Chabad, Kiryat Malachi, which is known by its secular name, Kiryat Malachi, but it's Nachlas Har Chabad. And he opened up a very big textile factory, which employed many Jews from that area and the area around as well. During the time that he was working his textile factory, and it still exists till this day, there were exhibitions all over the world, especially in Europe, and he was asked to come and to go into and to bring an exhibition of his schora, of his merchandise. The exhibitions were once in France, once in Belgium, whatever. So when he was there in the exhibitions, the timing was very different, because the exhibition during the week would start on Wednesday and would end on Sunday, meaning that the major time, like prime time for to be on exhibition, would be Shabbos. Rabbi Zeiler, obviously, a Lubavitcher Chassid and a frum, an observant Jew, he kept Shabbos. So when it came Friday afternoon, he went and he hung a sign on his butke, on the place where he was having his exhibition, and said, "We're closed until Saturday night." Didn't say why, didn't say where. It said we will be closed until Saturday night. Okay, when he was by the Rebbe, so he went into Rabbi Chadakov, and he relayed the business that he was doing, and also this factor that he would go and he would put a sign up and that he's closed until Saturday night. And after a certain time, Rabbi Chadakov called Rabbi Zeiler back in, and he said that it would be much more advantageous if he would go and he would make the sign on Wednesday when he opened up his exhibition. And he should write there that due to the fact that we observe Shabbat, so we will be closed on Friday afternoon until Saturday night. And this was something that he didn't fathom, but he understood. Well, obviously, the Rebbe wants me to have better livelihood, better parnasa. So if I go and I tell the people already when I open up on Wednesday that I'll be closed Friday, so the people that want to go and to see my merchandise will make sure to visit my place before Friday, before they go and visit everyone else, so that they'll be able to see what I have to offer. That was one way of seeing it. But the Rebbe has much deeper insight when the Rebbe gives instructions. And obviously, it seems to be that this instruction came through Rabbi Chadakov, the Rebbe's secretary, but it came from the Rebbe. And Rabbi Zeiler said that he saw it years later when he was on the exhibition, and it was before Rosh Hashanah, and and he put up the sign that it'll be closed. And there was a person that came and saw the sign. When this person came and saw the sign, he started shouting. He said, "What is this? You're making this into a religious happening. This is not about religion. This is about materials, about merchandise. What are you hanging up signs about Shabbat, about Rosh Hashanah?" And that the Rosh Hashanah fell right in the middle of the exhibition. So he wrote that they'll be closed in honor of the holiday, the Jewish New Year. Rabbi Zeiler heard this Jew shouting at him, and he said, wait a second. I hear an accent in your voice. Where are you from?" He says, "What does it make a difference where I'm from? I'm from Chile. I'm Chile, South America." He says, No. I hear your South American accent, but I hear something in addition. I hear something more. It's not the South American accent. So the guy calmed down and he said, "I'm a Polisher. I originally came from Poland. He was a Holocaust survivor, and he went to live in Chile in South America." He says, you went to live, you're a Holocaust survivor. You're a Polisher. Here I have what to talk to you about. So they started to talk about Rosh Hashanah. They started to talk about Shabbos. And this Jew started to get all worked up in the positive direction, until finally Rabbi Zeiler offered him to put on tefillin. He said, "No, I haven't put on tefillin in years. What are you talking about? I'm going to put on tefillin now?" He says, "What do you have to lose? It's a mitzvah on its own. It doesn't make a difference how many years you didn't put on tefillin. What makes the difference is that you put on tefillin now and here and today." And this Jew put on tefillin. And at that point, Rabbi Zeiler understood what the sign is all about. It's not in order to give him a lot better livelihood, to give him more parnasa, to give him more clientele. It was all about going and making the concept of Shabbos, of Rosh Hashanah, something that would be accessible to the public. People that would be in Chile, South America, that wouldn't even think in the direction of Shabbat, of Shabbos, of Rosh Hashanah, of the Jewish New Year. They come to this exhibition in Belgium, and here in Belgium, they see a sign, and this is a wake-up call for them. At the beginning, it was a wake-up call for them to go into to show their how upset they are. What is this? What kind of a sign you're putting in the middle of the exhibition? But afterwards, it was a wake-up call for them to put on tefillin. And later on, this Jew actually came to synagogue, to shul, in order to hear the blow of the shofar. This is the merge between the spiritual that we said before, between Yom Kippur and these other days of the year, which are mundane. At least, basically, this is what we deal with. We're not in the shul all day, like we said before. We deal with the physicality of the world. We deal with the material world, and this is where we have our empowerment to do it, from the high holidays, from Rosh Hashanah, from Yom Kippur. This is the sign that each and every one of us has from these 3 days. From the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, from the 1 day of Yom Kippur, we have that sign on us that reminds us that we are holy Jews, and that everything that we do in our daily life eating, drinking, walking outside and breathing fresh air, going to work, whatever it might be. This all has to do with, and it is all integrated in the fact that it is part and parcel of the holiness. And with that, we want to wish everyone a good yontif, a Gmar Chsima Teva, Lashana Teva Sukkah, and that we should have a Chag Sameach. We should have a happy holiday, a rejoicing holiday, a good yontif, and a joy that we should see. We should be able to see 24/7 with our eyes of flesh and blood. We'll be able to feel it with all our senses. The joy which is the ultimate joy that Hashem is giving us, and immediately now, the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach, and the Geula Shlema V'Amitis, the true and the complete redemption, with the third and the eternal Beis Hamikdash, immediately now. Yechi Adonenu Moreinu V'Rabbeinu HaMelech HaMoshiach Chai V'Kayam Le'olam.
Amen.
Amen ve'amen.